JP.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to James Redmond TV and welcome to another morning live stream. Good morning to you all. I hope you've got your cuppers and all that good shite. I've got a coffee. Oh, little Spider-Man Cup business. Big up chat. I've really enjoyed the past couple of days with you. I think it's been amazing. And I enjoy these little paper talk things. I think it's fun when we can all just like read through the stuff together and just see what's going on with the football club and whatnot. So if you do enjoy these as well, as much as I enjoy doing them, then do smash a like and subscribe. Only if you enjoy the channel though, because if you don't, then I don't think it's productive to go on like a stream on a stream that you don't freaking like. Chat. Mohamed Salah's being touted up. They're flirting with our girlfriend. How do we feel? You know what I mean? Like, because we've lost a couple of our main chicks to Saudi this summer, you know what I'm saying? Well, I wouldn't say main chicks. I think Fabinho and Henderson they were getting a little bit wrinkly. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those where we were happy to let go and they kind of had something we wanted and we had something they needed as well. So maybe not in that sense, but if Saudi was somehow able to achieve some crazy feat, what would arguably be, I know that Saudi have signed Neymar, but I think if Salah goes to Saudi, that creates a significantly bigger buzz. Chat WRL, because that could be controversial. But the reason why I believe this is that Mohamed Salah is the #1 Muslim athlete in the world, and you would consider him still one of the best players in the world if you go based off his recent numbers. Ronaldo based off his recent numbers. Neymar based off his recent numbers. Still good, but some people consider Neymar a little bit more over the hill. Is he going to be serious in Saudi? Whereas I think people know if Salah was to join, that's such a high-level player who would cause such a big buzz. And that's what we've got to realise first. The incentive. The incentive's important. Have they got an incentive to want Salah? Absolutely. Now, I will also say I'm not one who's worrying too much about Salah going to Saudi. I'm really, really not. But there was people out there who weren't worrying about us failing the Jude Bellingham deal, for instance. You know, things can happen overnight. What is today's news is not tomorrow's news. So it's about being fearful of the fact that even though Saudi might have not interested Salah as of right now, even though there's reports that I wouldn't even say are overly reliable. This is the report from Dave Ockop, and there was a few other things yesterday. I made a little joke just saying, like, ITTIHAD are pushing hard to end our faces because, chat, come on. If we lost Mohamed Salah, that would be a big, big, big shame. But as you can see, the report says ITTIHAD are making serious attempts to sign Mohamed Salah on a 3-year deal this window. And I believe it. I believe every single word of ITTIHAD or somebody in Saudi are trying their hardest to sign Salah, because I understand the incentive, and then I also understand they have the money to go and get him, and I also understand how much that elevates their league, no matter how many stars they've bought. So that's why I understand it's probably true. But as we know, according to Salah and his agent, they don't really want to go. But what is today's news is not tomorrow's news, chat. WRL. So we've still got to be somewhat cautious with Saudi. I mean, come on, chat, seriously. Henderson at one point was coming back to unboxing videos and coming in like Mike Tyson, you know. Well, Mike Tyson might be a bit of a stretch, but you know what I mean? Like, he was coming back as if he was going to be Captain Fantastic 2.0, like he was coming back with a vengeance. Everyone was like, he's got a 6-pack, he's doing compilation videos. And it was boss. And then he fucked off with Gerrard to LFC. And then now we're sitting here with no CDM. Fabinho then joined ITTIHAD with Benzema and that. So what I'm saying is that them things weren't talked about, then they happened. Salah weren't talked about, but it could still happen. So to answer your questions, James, is Salah going to go? I don't think so. And I don't think there's any reliable enough journalist who's come out and suggested that that could happen as well. However, I do believe that what is today's news is not tomorrow's news, and it could change. What do you think, chat? What do you think? We're going to touch on Gabby Vega throughout the stream, as he was a Liverpool target, so we will definitely touch on that. James, if Salah does go for around £100 million, would you want us to go for Mbappe? Right, so would I want us to go for Mbappe? I'm very fine if we sign Mbappe for sure. Jake, I love you, but I just don't think we achieve much by trying to go for Mbappe. I think trying to go for Mbappe is great, but if you don't succeed on getting Mbappe, which I think is a very likely outcome, I don't think he's going to want to join the Europa League team. The hashtag just saying, I also don't think we're going to have the wages of other teams or will be willing to offer. Because the second you bring in someone like Mbappe and put him on 500k a week, well, now Trent's sitting there thinking, well, I've actually won everything for this football club. So, oh, by the way, I'm the vice captain. You want to raise my wages by double? Fine. We'll become our own little Saudi team in England. It'll be boss. But no, I don't think it's productive going for Mbappe. If we did get him, of course, I'd take it. But let's be honest, that's just not going to happen at all. So there's nobody out there, chat WRL. There is nobody out there. That's not true, actually. I'm going to say an L. I was going to say there's nobody out there who could replicate Salah's numbers. However, what I will stand by is that it will be so difficult. There's such a minute amount of gems out there who we could turn into a Salah. Minute. There's nobody in our 11 right now who can replicate Salah numbers. And then what we're relying on is an amazing scouting department to get hopefully the next uncovered gem who's going to replicate those numbers, which is very, very unlikely. Whether you believe it to be Chiesa, whether you believe it to be somebody else, Mohamed Salah is still here to score us goals, to create goals. And without him in the team, we do become significantly worse because I think that overall output does decrease. Maybe, but I could also be wrong, but I do think Salah is massively important. You know what I'm saying? Salah's not the type of guy to go to Saudi. Well, let's analyse the type of guy. So who is the type of guy to go to Saudi? Because there's a lot of guys who I typically wouldn't assume are Saudi guys. In fact, I'm sure a lot of these footballers, before they went to Saudi, had never stepped foot in Saudi. Not because Saudi isn't nice. Some people might think it's lovely. The same way some people think Liverpool's lovely. And then some people think Liverpool's shit. And some people don't feel the need to go to Liverpool because it's fucking raining. It's always freezing, by the way. That's important. So is Salah the type of guy to go to Saudi? I mean, well, number one Muslim athlete in the world. That might help. And I do believe there's many attributes. I'm not going to dissect all the reasons why he would not go to Saudi. There's a lot of reasons why he would go to Saudi. He would get offered shit tons of money in Saudi. That league's becoming more competitive as well. So he's already dominated Europe. He's already won everything in Europe, got insane scoring records. Why not go to another league which is ever improving, ever increasing? Probably got the biggest stars in the world. I think we can sit there and say the biggest stars in world football are no longer in Europe. Ronaldo, Neymar, Messi, they're the biggest stars based on followers, based on like a cult following that they've all got like within each other. It's like Messi versus Ronaldo, and then Neymar's got his little sister lovers. You know what I'm saying? His sister supporter. So that's why I sit there and I think, okay, well, maybe Salah could go to Saudi because his characteristics probably wouldn't oppose Saudi. I think he'd probably embrace the culture in Saudi. Might suit him more. You know what I mean? Like, think about it when he's doing his prayers before a game and he just hears someone go, fucking come on, Salah! You know what I mean? Just there's our Tony in the background just going, fucking come on, lad! Fucking come on, bro! In the crowds. He's just there doing this, you know what I mean? He's just trying to chill, like he's trying to get in the zone, and then he's just got that. So I do think there's incentives, although I don't think it'll happen. But by the way, we've got 300 people in the stream. Do smash the likes and do let me know if you enjoy these morning streams as well. Just to remind people of the news in case you're tuning in a little bit later than others as well. We have got news from Dave Ockop as well saying Al-Ittihad are making serious attempts to sign Mohamed Salah on a 3-year deal in this window. So that's huge as well. Saudi League is a joke of a league, says 90 LFC. I wouldn't piss on it if I was on fire. That is so our-ass. That is so our-ass. There is a lot of people who get really defensive when you call the Saudi League, like, not that good of a league. And it's not that good of a league, let's be honest. You watch it, and it does feel like you're watching a very underdeveloped league, even if it's got a few legends. I think, you know, as good, as promising as it could be, it's definitely still not European football. And that's the opposing side that we need to look at this from, chat. Salah's a winner. Salah wants to be the best. He knows he cannot be called the best if he's in Saudi. He knows this. He knows he cannot be called the best. There's nobody who's going to go to Saudi. I don't care if Neymar gets 50 goals. He's not going to be called the best player in the world. He's certainly not going to be winning the Ballon d'Or. There's a lot more in the game that Salah, I am sure, is aiming to achieve. And I'm sure he also knows that there's that long-term incentive to go to Saudi. So I need to make it clear. Although today's news is not tomorrow's news, and anything can change in the matter of 24 hours. I don't see Saudi being able to complete that move for Salah. Maybe they'll bid for Salah. Maybe they'll try and offer him more money than he could have ever imagined. Maybe they'll offer him palaces in hopes that it's going to incentivize him to go to Saudi and smash it up in their league. I don't see it happening. I think the agent who can be a bit of a prick. I think an agent's job is to be a prick. And Salah's agent has done his job. He got Salah the contract that Salah was happy with. But overall, he's adhered to the interests of the player. You know, Salah's agent, as much as we might agree and disagree with the way he does things, that's just how it is with agents and the party that they're negotiating with. You're going to disagree. But that's why it's important to know that he still aligns with the interests. Salah's wanted to stay. He's admitted he wants to be a legend. Now it's times like this where we test that theory. Okay, then you want to be a legend. Think about how many people have came out and said they want to be a legend. Jamie Carragher, I want to be a legend. But then you think, if Saudi came in for Jamie Carragher, is Jamie Carragher staying, or is that loyalty going to be tested? Especially if he's being offered hundreds and hundreds of thousands a week, especially in 2009. Sure, he probably would have fucked off no matter how much he loved Liverpool. It's moments like this where you really see the testing and the loyalty. And that's not me implying like Henderson isn't loyal. I do think Henderson's loyal, and I do think there's a part of Henderson that was happy to go because he was going to have a less involved role. But think about it, Henderson would have been here till the day he retired if it weren't for Saudi, I doubt he would have went anywhere else. He might have went to Sunderland, might have went to the MLS, but I doubt he would have went to a significant opposition. I think he would have done something that would, like the way John Terry, when he retired. Do you know John Terry before he left? Did he retire at Chelsea? Who am I thinking of, chat? There was a player who came out and was like, I don't want to play this team, so I'm not gonna be in a league that makes me play against them. I can't remember who it was. It weren't John Terry because he actually retired. If he does, we only have a week to replace, taking us weeks to get a CTM. This is another reason why it'd be a bad idea. Whether 100 million, 150 million. Well, now we're going into the season with Ben Doak as our right winger. And you guys know I love Ben Doak. I love Ben Doak more than you. He's my guy. But yeah, he's definitely not the guy for right now to replace Mo Salah. So that's the if, ands, or buts. Yeah, that's the if, ands, or buts. But that's the Salah news in conclusion. Nothing really to worry about. Nothing to really sit there and bite your nails over. It's fine. Like, he's not going to go based on chances. However, you can never really just go off chances when it comes to this football club. You know what I'm saying, chat? It is one of those things. But to get into the second part of the title, I did touch on it in yesterday's stream. We're going to touch on Andre. We're going to touch on Decore. And just briefly, I'm going to mention about the two guys in which we've recently signed as well, just to give you guys a little bit more of an idea on who they are, what they do, and what they can implement to us in the short term and the long term. So obviously, James Pearce tweeted, Liverpool have completed the double signings of Trey Nioni and Amare Nallo. Both will join up with Mark Bridge Wilkinson's under-18 squad. Nallo has been described as a Rolls-Royce centre-back. So yeah, this is the dude who's going to be our Rolls-Royce. Now, one thing I've done since I've looked into them, chat, so just in case you don't know, Nallo's coming from West Ham, and what's the other kid's name? Nioni is coming from Leicester. Now, I've looked into them, and they are considered top prospects. So, although we are not going to be happy about these signings, because, listen, even though it's still good to always build on the academy, it's not building on the first team. And let's be honest, we care about the right here, right now. We don't have patience. We have no time for fucking projects and shit. Give me trophies. So, these guys won't adhere to that, but just to let you know about a little bit of insight. And yesterday on stream, I was a little bit harsh. You know what I mean? I was a little bit harsh because they're only young. You know what I'm saying? And I do think that they could be good in the future. And I do think our academy identification is getting better. I think that's a positive note to talk on briefly. That, you consider Ben Doak and you consider... starting to run out of names in my head. But you know what I mean? Like Bajektic, we're signing some good young players through the academy, and I do think we're getting better and creating more of a long-term vision when it comes to the academy. We've still got a lot of ground to cover. We're still nowhere near as good as the other teams or the other academies. But yes, it's a step in the right direction, and let's hope that these guys can be those Moneyball transfers that we're all looking for as well. Everybody always asks me about this in Hincape, so a little bit of brief news there, because you guys know I'm not a journalist, but I will do the due diligence of going and seeing who is talking about these transfers. And I saw over the past 7 days about 1,000 of you mention Hincape, and not one journalist mention him. Not one of any credibility. And Build Sport have certainly got no credibility, but this was the best I could find. So Bayer Leverkusen would only entertain immoral offers. So now we've got to do this in an immoral way. They're saying you have to immorally sign our player. So does that mean like they'll do the opposite of Sporting Lisbon? Like if we go and chat up their player immorally, then will they just be fine with it? Like are they just going to take it like the bitch that they are? Yeah, fuck you, Bayer Leverkusen. Of offers for Piero Incapié, they would want at least 70 million euros. So considering how some people talk about him, and then coincide that with today's market, 70 million euros for a supposed top prospect centre-back doesn't sound too bad to me. I've never watched them, so I can't really give a good assessment on whether I'd take him or not. But one thing I will sit there and say is that a lot of people seem to favour him. And I also know that Bayer Leverkusen developed some really boss players over recent years. They've got a great academy, probably one of the best teams for developing players there. So I'd sit there and suggest, you know what? Don't mind if I diddly do, my friend. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little bit of a brief update on Incapié. Before we get into Decore and Vega, everyone seems to ask about the centre-back situation. Chat, I've got to make it clear. I don't think we're going to be signing a centre-back anytime soon. And I think that's one thing that we need to get into our heads. I think we're happy with Matip. We're happy with Joe Gomes. You know, another reason why I'll imply this as well. Did you see Joe Gomez's mental health statement the other day that he had mental health? God bless him, mate. God bless him. I hope he's well. And injuries are so friggin' detrimental here. But breaking it down, he came out and made a statement about his mental health, and I don't think he's ever done that. And then Joel Matip came out earlier and said, I want to try and work back to my best. It's great and all, but these conversations are pushed by media from the football club. They're going to ask them specific questions, which are going to provoke certain responses. So if they say to Joe Gomes, how have you been feeling? Of course, it's been very tough with the injuries. Well, of course, Joe Gomes is going to respond in saying, well, actually, the injuries have made me feel really crap. I don't feel good because I feel like they've just disrupted the momentum of me getting in the team. So now you can label this as mental health problems. And he might have, we all do, you know what I mean? But the club are going to make this something else. Why? Because they need the fans to get on board with the centre-backs. Chat, you understand what I'm saying? I'm not implying that Joe Gomes hasn't had mental health problems. In fact, I bet 100% that he absolutely has. But for the club to go and push that conversation with him and then put it out in a public statement and then do the same with Joel Matip today, and then it's likely that Nat Phillips might not leave as well. Well, then now where's the room to get a new centre-back? Because now everybody's behind the options we've already got. So that's just another reason why we're probably not going to go out there and get a centre-back anytime soon. And Incapié, you know, in my opinion, falls under that category. And bear in mind, we've not bid for anybody. We've not even, you know, we might have discussed with Levi Colwill, and I think that would be the furthest that it went. Any other discussion has not been publicised. So, by the way, shout out to Esther. I see you in the chat, and I haven't shouted you out for time. Shout out to King Mo. Shout out to Sam. He's always here. Shout out to Mo himself, my guy. Nah, bro, what the fuck is this? We better not sell Salah, says Revelation Artist. It's always one to worry about when Saudi are in town, man. It's always one to worry about. It's very easy to sit there and say, oh no, Salah won't leave. But imagine me telling you 2 months ago Jordan Henderson was going to go to Saudi. You would have absolutely laughed in my face. So what is today's news? It's not tomorrow's news, as I'll repeat again and again and again. But as of right now, based on what we know, I wouldn't worry too much. But it is always that sort of dark shadow that's lurking in the corner. Like, you just know Saudi have got bread and they're ready to dish that shit. Big up to Panascouse as well, who's been a member for 1 month. Absolutely huge, sir. And anybody who's been a member now or for a significant amount of time, you're supporting the channel on a regular basis, making this channel more sustainable. You absolute legends. I cannot thank you enough. I really, really can't. Smash those likes, chat. We got 500 people in the strip. And we'll get these morning live streams booming. And I hope you're having a good morning, chat. I really, really do, mate. I really enjoy these morning streams. You set me day off nicely. And do know there is going to be a night stream tonight as well. So 2 streams every day for as long as we can possibly do it. So, chat, next in the news, we've got this really important piece of information regarding Andre. So, Liverpool the other day, of course, according to ESPN Brazil, which, listen, I'm not willing to sit there and say ESPN Brazil is the most reliable source out there because it's ESPN. But Liverpool had a 30 million euro bid rejected by Andre by Fluminense, and the feeling is that the club will not return for the midfielder in January. So this was reported on the 22nd of August, leading many to assume, I still said it was speculation because, again, of the source, but leading many to assume we're going to pull out for the Andre deal and we don't want Andre pretty much. So now if I can just quickly find, with my skills of research, Yes, so Neil Jones confirmed. And listen, I know Neil Jones isn't the guy of the guy to know all the stuff in the ins and outs, but he now comes out and says more recently than ESPN Brazil, Liverpool denied making an offer for Fluminense from Andre. So I assume Neil Jones has asked the sources that he has with the club, and Neil Jones does. He sits in like the nice seats and all that stuff. So he's going to know more than ESPN Brazil. That's one thing I can say, chat. Whether you see him as credible or not, certainly more credible than ESPN Brazil. And Liverpool denied making an offer for Fluminense on Andre. The reason why that's important is because the reports in Brazil are assuming had a 30 million bid rejected. So now this has been opposed by Neil Jones. And chat, who do you trust more? Some fella from Brazil? Or do you trust Neil Jones? Now, that doesn't mean we never bid. That can just be what we're telling the media to say. But based on chances, I'd probably say it's very likely that we did not bid, and that's important. So Andre could still be a possibility, and I definitely didn't sit there and think, well, just because of these reports, that means we're not going to get Andre. You know what I mean, chat? So anyway, shout out to Strasbourg, Steve, massive support from you. Say you always come into the stream, support them, like them. Big up to you, brother. Glad I could catch you live. Big up, bro. Going to be a hell of a game Sunday. How are the lads? How are the fucking lads, mate? How are the fucking tune? You know what I mean? Like, big up to all my fucking Geordies. By the way, if you want to go and see a Scouser versus a Geordie, there's a preview, a combined 11 on the channel from yesterday that you can go and watch. It was me and Matty. It was a boss video. But that's the Andre news in conclusion as well. So it doesn't mean we're going to go and get Andre, but it does dispute the news of us supposedly turning down or getting turned down by Fluminense for that offer. And then one from one CDM to another. Chat, can you be asked with all this CDM talk, by the way? It's friggin' annoying, isn't it? I love you too, Johnny. Johnny, your boss, mate. Your boss. Think about how much the channel's grown, Johnny, since you were here, you know what I mean? Or since you started coming here, it's mad. And you were a part of it, sir. You were friggin' a part of it. Liverpool asked Crystal Palace about the conditions of the deal for Cheick Doucouré last week. Let's see if they will bid or not. Deal is only likely to happen in case of a huge offer, according to Fabrizio Romano. So this is the next piece of news, I suppose. We knew this yesterday. I told you guys this yesterday morning about the fact that the offer would just be too big for Liverpool to even want to consider. So as much as I respect Fabrizio Romano, and when he speaks, I do think there's an element where you should listen. I think this is just kind of basic news that we kind of already knew about. Crystal Palace don't want to sell Eze. They didn't want to sell Elise. They certainly don't want to sell Doucouré. It seems like they're trying to build on top of what they've already got. Now, not just be a mid-table team, but be a more Europa League team. And I think when you consider that they're happy to take or to deny 70 million for Doucouré, but they prefer 80 or 90, that is such a huge offer for a player that's so unproven, chat. I just don't think I'm down with it. I'm not going to lie to you, but let me get into a few of your comments and see what you are saying. First, I'll read this super chat. Just know all super chats get read out instantly. No doubt about it. And I appreciate everyone who financially supports the stream. Do you think Jonathan David would fit our team, bro? No. Don't think he's of quality. I'm not saying he's bad. I just don't think he's good enough to get us to where we want to be. You know what I'm saying? Big up to Strasbourg, Steve. He says, I watch a lot of Fluminense. This Andre kid is very talented. He looks it. His passing looks sick, and he looks like one of those aggressive, shit-out South American footballers. So I agree. He gets all the pitch, and he's very consistent. And that's what we need is consistency. Someone who can provide that quality on a regular basis. So, it's like he's a guaranteed 7 or 8 out of 10. Because that's what we've had before in Gini Wijnaldum, Fabinho, etc. If FSG really know how to get the mood low when the new season starts because of their lack of signings every single window. Facts, brother. There's a part of me that kind of wishes we lost one of those first games. Not obviously, I'm joking, but I just know it would increase the urgency to go out and get a player. And I just think that people, because we've had quite a good start to the season, people are like, we're fine. Look how good Sobo is and look how good McAllister is. No, they were absolute hits. I agree. But now we need to get more because we've got 23 players this season opposed to the 34 players, about the 31 players that we had last season. And it turns out we are going to have even less. Like even Tyler Morton's being rumoured to be loaned out to a championship club or a Bundesliga club, which is also very important because now that's one less midfielder. Another one less midfielder than what we had. To be fair, Tyler Morton weren't there last year, but still, like if we're not going to go out and get another player, it's probably important to have cover. So unless we get another player, that doesn't make too much sense to me. And it is definitely a confusing time. Hamez, I think we dodged the bullet with Caicedo, don't you? Do you know what, mate? No, I don't. I think he's going to be a top class player, and I think if we really wanted him, I think we could have done something. Kimmich or Rodri level, it's tough because we don't go in that market, Johnny. That's the only problem in it, mate. Ever since PSG signed Neymar, they fucked the transfer market up. You could suggest that. You could also suggest Manchester United with Paul Pogba, 100 million, 2016. That was a big transfer. That's what made Jurgen Klopp go out on the front line and was like, well, the day that I am not in, I will not be in this job when you're not, like, these players, they go to a too much. And now we're going out and bidding 110 million for Caicedo when he was forced to talk about it in a press conference. Look on like that's it. Oh, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. But I understand what you're saying. I think Pogba definitely had a part to play. Neymar was just a whole nother level. Of course, you had frigging 18-year-old Mbappe as well. It's crazy times, crazy times. Yeah, man, I so agree with you about hoping we lose early on, because when we win, they think we have a good team, but we definitely do need more backup. Exactly. It's just about increasing that agency, you know what I'm saying? Smash a like, people. Smash a like, people. Have faith. We got Arthur on the last day of the window last summer. I like the positivity in this comment, but chat to you. And by the way, Psychedelic Shalom or Shaolin. Shaolin. I love you. You're my guy or gal. But I need you to understand the drugs that you must have consumed before you wrote that comment. You understand what I'm saying? Because think about it. So have faith. So you're telling me to have faith. Okay, that means there's hope. There's a possibility of something. Have faith. Something good could happen. And your reference to support the good thing was that we got Arthur on the last day of the season or the last day of the transfer window. What's good about this? Now, Arthur was fine because he was a short-term solution who never ended up working out, but at least we tried. But he was diabolically shit. So now what? So, okay, so I've got to have faith in hoping that we get a player who's as shit as Arthur. You know what I mean? Arthur played 34 minutes in 6 months. And I need to be excited about friggin' Arthur. Big to Strasbourg, Steve. Membership link, plus I could borrow you for a video on Newcastle Fans TV today or tomorrow. If you can't, it's all good. I know you're busy. Brother, have you got Instagram or Twitter? Message me on that, and we'll definitely get that done, no doubt. Zero doubt for sure. I'm happy to jump on the channel, mate. Don't feel like you need to send a super chat in, no. Just Steve, I appreciate it, but don't ever feel like you've got to send in a super chat to ask me to come on the channel. Send me a message. We'll get that sorted. We'll agree a time. How about that, sir? And then chat, you can keep an eye out on that as well. Big up to you though, Steve, and big up to Revelation Artist, the 2 people to super chat so far. Membership link as well. Go on the channel, go on the main channel. I have to start putting it in the description because I always forget to, but do definitely go on the main channel. I think it's on the community posts or something like that, but you'll be able to join through there. I only believe so because other people find a way to do it, but yeah, I'll start putting it in the description as well. But yeah, chat, the next in the news, we've identified, we've kept you up to date with Decore. I've let you know about the reports surrounding and Andre because he was a fan favourite the other day, and then the news came out from ESPN Brazil. Now it seems we could still be in for him. But now coming out recently was, remember Gabby Vega, the guy that we were linked with? Well, he has joined Al Ali in Saudi, and I thought this was interesting. Tony Kroos had a proper fucking shit on him. Chat, is this a W or an L from Tony Kroos, by the way? Bear in mind, Gabby Vega is 20 years of age. He's a top prospect in Spain, one of the top prospects, in fact. I need to remember those comments, get in the way of my face. So get on this. So opinion on Gabby Vega going to Al Ali at 21. So he's 21, my bad. This is what Tony Kroos had to say. Embarrassing. Fucking embarrassing. He's like, how dare my son fuck this up? Is this a W or an L from Tony Kroos? Chat, do you agree or disagree? Because I can appreciate that Saudi are trying to build their own superstars, and this is certainly one potential superstar for them. And then other people will say this, they'll say, L, get that bread, you know what I mean? And Gabby Vega will get significantly more money from that club than what he would if he was to stay in La Liga, you know what I'm saying, chat? So there's definitely pros and cons to both sides. And I do think it's a bit harsh, but Tony Kroos, I understand. I think he's coming at it from a winner's mentality. He's like, you're choosing money over greatness, and you have potential to be great. So yeah, it's really just about the right here, right now, and he just believes in his league, you know what I mean? And that's low-key a shot at, like, his past teammates and that, because, you know, Ronaldo's gone over to friggin' Saudi, so what does he think about that? Maybe it's a bit different, because context is important, and Ronaldo's an owl bastard, you know what I mean? He's old, he's grey. Wait there. And it's dude 23. not 30, you can get that money later. That's also true. He can go there and develop, you know what I'm saying? He can go there, improve, develop his game, improve it significantly over time. It's still a somewhat or becoming a more competitive league. So who's to dispute that league won't be boss in 2 to 3 years' time? I think based on viewership, it's already number 2 league in the world behind Prem. Maybe La Liga could still be above it. But I do still think that though that league, just with Ronaldo, Neymar, that will have some of the peak viewership games that we'll see. And Gabby Vega going there is only going to enhance the league even more. So we will see how that goes. And bear in mind as well, chat, another thing to keep in mind for the Salah deal, not that it will happen, in my opinion, but if it does, they have a 3-week extra long window. So they have 3 additional weeks to not only pick out players from Europe, but also pick out players like Salah. And I can understand why the market is, not to give the club excuses, because that would be fucking ridiculous, because we've always been poor with transfer windows, bar the odd one. But like, think about it. You've got all your targets, and those same targets are now sitting there saying, but Saudi might call me tomorrow and they're going to offer me 5 times the money of what your bitch ass is going to offer me. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm waiting to see if I love the way we've got an FSG out spam in the chat as well, by the way. Big up to Sean. He says, if we don't sign anyone else, are you joining me and the lads with our massive FSG out poster in the cop for the Villa game and record it for the channel? 100%. I'll get that out there, mate. And I do vlogs around the game as well. So if you let me know where you are, I'd be more than happy to come and speak to you, like, and put it in the vlog, you know what I mean? Get your point of views on there. And I've let my point of views be known why I don't like the club, but I always appreciate any form of protest because it's your football club. And if you believe the owners aren't at the best interest for it, I think this type of form of protest, bringing signs and stuff like that, it might not get the overnight results, but it certainly lets it be known that we've got a problem and something needs to change. Whether it means a change of ownership or whether it means a change of action, either one needs to happen, and we're seeing very little of the action being changed. So that's why it's important to take that into consideration as well. So chat, a few pieces of news. We'll do about 10-15 more minutes, so smash those likes. We've got 600 people in the stream, and thank you so much for everyone who's tuning in, like, last minute and stuff like that, because I always set up the streams late, don't I? You know what I'm saying. And big up to Sean for this as well. Big up for Sean for this. Hamez road trip, bro. Hamez fucking road trip. You know that, mate. Big up to Mo. He says, we won't do any more signings until January, sadly. Klopp doesn't realise the effect on the team till January. He does it back-to-back season. Gakpo, Diaz. Again, I think we need to be careful, Mo. I think we need to be careful saying Klopp over the ownership. I think it's very important to know that Klopp shouldn't be controlling this team in terms of the ins and the outs. It should be the ownership. And there's a lot of examples that suggests the ownership have controlled the way and the shape of the squad has gone for a long, long time. So that's the only reason why I'm saying to you, but I think it's unfair to just say Klopp. I think we need to analyse it as a club thing, but I understand Klopp could be doing more. Big up to Harsh. He says, India is the 4th country to complete soft landing on the moon and first on South Pole, historic moment in the history of India and whole space research. Jeez. Hey, chat, is the moon landing fake? Do you reckon India have done like a little repeat of that? Nah, I'm messing. Nah, congratulations to all the Indians out there. Like, did they record it? Yeah. Nah, I'm only messing. I'm just taking the piss. Just DM'd you on Twitter. My guy, big up Steve. I'll keep an eye out for that, brother. I'll keep an eye out for that post stream. Arsenal fan. Very sad to see Klopp turn into old Wenger. Ooh, chat, is that a W or an L? It seems a bit premature, isn't it not? He needs to go to a better club. Yanks out. I hear what you're saying. I don't know if it's Blatter Wenger, though. I think that's a bit premature still, because Wenger did go, what was it, 17 years without a league title or something. I think it's a bit different, but I get what you're implying. I think it's a very basic argument that everyone seems to be using right now. Lee Gunner used it. Ransom Bands used it. Like, a lot of people have used that example, and it's not just because I don't like it. It's because, to me, there's a lot of things that don't make sense, and there's a lot of context to include there, which makes it different. But next in the news, some injury news, chat. Some fucking injury news. Who doesn't love a bit of injury news? My preview on the Newcastle game will be out tomorrow, by the way. But for those wondering about Curtis Jones, this is a reason why it's great that we have McAllister available as well, by the way. It looks like Curtis Jones' injury is going to rule him out of the Newcastle game this weekend. So don't be expecting him to be available for the game, and don't be expecting him to get a cameo or something like that. And then also on the current squad news, Joel Matip came out and said this: I have had some good times here and some good times and sometimes where I have been unlucky with injuries, but I have always tried to come back and show my best self. That is what I want to do again this season. So, chat, that's an example of why I don't think we're going to go and get a centre-back, because why is the club asking Joel Matip these specific questions, which encourages the answer, I want to be back this season? Well, it's because the club are very happy with Joel Matip, which is fine. But then me and you might say, well, we need to get another centre-back with Joel Matip and Gomes because of this. But the club are saying to you in response, well, no, we've got Matip, we've got Gomes. We don't need to go out and get a fifth centre-back. That'd be ludicrous. So you can understand why fans are upset from that point of view. And I love Joel Matip. And I will say this. It would be amazing if Joel Matip got back to his best. In fact, I think I put it in a tweet. Yes, this is what I said. I said, however likely or unlikely, if this guy gets back to his best, he's one of the best centre-backs in the league. And I really do stand by this. I stand by that opinion. But that's a big, big if. And I do think it's unlikely he can get back to the best. So, yeah, I don't mind Joel Matip playing week in, week out. And if he's playing at his best, amazing. But there has been times where you've got to question it. You get what I'm saying? But I think that's all the news that I wanted to get through on this stream, chat. Yeah, pretty productive stream. Got a lot done. What I will do before I exit, I will see if there's... because that's just stuff that I've retweeted and stuff like that. So it's not the only news that could come out. I will check any more before I briefly go. Do you know what? Before I do go, I'll even read some of your comments because I haven't been as interactive this stream. I try and always be as interactive as possible. There'll also be a Jurgen Klopp press conference reaction tomorrow as well. So do definitely keep an eye out on that. Okay, no, nothing really to report on there. Let me read a few of your comments before we dust the... And shout out to everyone for the super chats as well. Speaking of super chats, I just received another. And just know everybody who super chats or becomes a member will be shouted out at the end of the stream as well. Just so you know that it gets read out, because I know some streamers don't read it out because they're just in the flow of things, but I like to try and make a segment for it. Big up to Mo. He says, the thing is, if Edwards and Ward left, they surely knew about the 100+ million budget that we had, but they left because there has to be a reason for it. I hear what you're saying, Mo, and maybe you're implying that reason is because Jurgen Klopp didn't want to spend. But again, this is where the club have got to get the priorities straight and say, well, Klopp, you're not the guy who's controlling the ins and outs, and if we can control who goes out the club, well, we're going to assist you in who we bring in the club. So I'm not saying Klopp isn't to blame. Klopp is to blame. But there's also somebody else to blame if he's being given the authority. Who is giving him the authority? That's the person you now look towards and say, well, you're making the decisions, you bastard. You're the one who's got to control everything. Liverpool have been in contact with representatives of Mats Wafer, young CDM from Feyenoord. I've never heard of him. Might be a good dude, but I just have not heard of him. I don't know how good he is, and maybe he'll be quality for us. But it seems like in some reports we're happy with Enzo as the starter, which is fine. For more description, it's the cheapest and more efficient project in the history, with only 75 million euros for the whole project. In comparison to NASA, 500 million euro. Oh, Harsh, are you still talking about science and that? Yeah. Fair play, mate. Fair play. Last 2 days, reports saying, but is that in rupees? Is rupees like a different thing, Harsh? Like different, because it's like a different currency now. Like, was there a discount in rupees? Jota and Benzema want to come back to Europe. No, they don't. We will see how good the league is there by the departures coming back. Do you think so? Do you think they... Wait, what? According to what reports? And are they reliable reports? Can they be reports that are trusted? Because I don't think there's anyone in Europe offering them the money. James, are you the biological son of the late Paul O'Grady? No. I'm not, my mate. Big up to Paul O'Grady, though. Rest in peace, sir. You know what I mean? The problem is Barbie Hogan, the most incompetent football CEO. I'm not going to lie, lad. Yeah, there's something about Hogan that I'm not a big fan of. The way he deals with a lot of things. Because think about it, Mo, specifically, think about this. We'd have got Caicedo. We didn't get Caicedo because of Klopp, and we didn't get Lavia because of Klopp. We didn't get them because our owners are shit. Because they employ someone like Hogan as the CEO who underachieves in these negotiations, which is a problem. So, yeah, that's what I'll sit there and say regarding that sense. Big up to Shabazz. James, please watch a Gabriel Moscato comp. Any 3 mins DM. Will do. Then Redondo and only 17 defensive skills also in the comp. Oh, okay, then. Will you send it to me? And then we can maybe make that for a future stream, my brother. Yeah, Redondo's somebody who I'm a fan of, to be fair, Shabazz, so I wouldn't even mind seeing a little bit more of him. Benzema has issues with Nuno, so it could be true. Okay. Okay, then. So what does that mean? Where does he go? Does he go back to Real Madrid, or does he fuck off to France? What does that mean for Benzema? You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's actually interesting news. Fair play. I'll keep an eye out on that. Inshkamadska's contract ending on August 30th. Are there any leads for a new sporting director? No, but if I'm going to throw a name in the hat, give me Ralph Ragnick, man. This will be my final point on the video. Smash a like and that stuff. Ralph Ragnick would be, based on the play, some of our best players, think about like Sadio Mane, and think about a lot of players that have been identified by that man in himself. A great person when it comes to identifying talent, and in my opinion, I think he could do a great job for us. Chat WRL, do you think Ralph Ragnick could do a job? And he doesn't have affiliations with Man United like that. You know what I mean? He actually ended it on bad terms with the football club. It's not like a player or anything. So, although still unlikely, I think it could still be entirely possible to get him. And he's just, you know what I mean? There's other examples of people that you can get, but I think Ralph Ragnick as a sporting director, somebody who's, you know, also got a very good relationship with Jurgen Klopp, because that's what people say. They say, oh, we brought in Škramačka because Klopp likes him. Also, does Ralph Ragnick. But let's let Ralph Ragnick actually decide who we bring in and who we let go of, and let him have full control. Because that was his problem at Man United. He didn't have enough control. But when he was at the RB clubs, he was doing bitch chat, you know what I'm saying? He was identifying players like a motherfucker. James, if Mo isn't scoring, rate his overall game now. Oh, so you want to get me in trouble before the end of the stream, Lawazi? Go ahead. Chat, you answer this question. If Mo isn't scoring, and let's say assisting, what do you give him in a game typically? Like, what's your average rating for Salah if he doesn't score or assist? Yeah, let me do it based off the 2 games this season. Chelsea, I gave Salah an 8. I thought he was good against Chelsea. Against Bournemouth, where he scored a pen, didn't think he was as great. I'll be honest. I thought he was maybe a 5. So in general, I'll say a 4. But if he's not scoring or assisting, maybe a 5 at best. I understand the point of what you're saying, though, Lawazi. I love Salah, right? But if he's not scoring or assisting, he's definitely not like a... You don't look at him the way you look at James Milner. You don't think he's a solid 7 out of 10. Like Szoboszlai, he doesn't have to score or assist, but he's always creating something. And that's the difference, you know what I mean? Like, Salah needs those numbers and he needs to be the outlet. But that's his role. His role is to be the outlet, which is important, because if you're just saying, like, oh, he does nothing outside of scoring goals, well, if his main job is to score goals, well, now we're complaining about shit that doesn't matter. And Salah certainly does that and some. But anyway, chat, thank you for tuning in. Smash a like on the way out and comment and all that juicy stuff. Big up to all 8 people who super chatted. Big up to Revelation Artist, Strasbourg, Steve, Sean P. Casey, Shabazz, and Lawazi. Big up to all you guys. And then also big up to Panaskaus, who was announced as a member for 1 whole month today. What a hero. What a legend. 100% Shabazz. Smash a like on the way out, people. I hope you have a blessed day. And I'll see you all in a bizzle. Sayonara. JP.